Hi, y'all. My name is Kathryn Scoblick. Thank you so much for joining me for this session, Skip the Drive-Thru. It's truly one of my favorite passions. Anything health and wellness is my passion, but I have to let you know that the 1 Minute Cooler blog was the first blog I wrote for my website, Health Inspires, and it's just because I just did what was easy for me, top of mind health and wellness, what helps people be healthier. So I wrote the 1 Minute Cooler. And in my role before with St. David's Healthcare, I had a health and wellness role calling in the employer space. And my marketing director said, hey, we're going to videotape you today. And I gave like a 1 minute Facebook post she put on the 1 Minute Cooler. And so this is just something that when Suzanne asked me to do something, I'm like, this is what I want to do, because I think it helps people skip the drive-thru and get home to a healthier meal, which is important when you're on your own, and especially when you're modeling behavior for your children. So how I'm going to break out this session, and I do have my notes just so I stay on track. I'm breaking this into about 10-minute segments. So this first part, I'm going to share with you some stories and statistics, kind of our why around why we want to pack a cooler. And then the second part will be the video on how I share what supplies you need on hand to make it achievable for you to pack it and get out the door fast. And then the last part I'm going to do is just to do an exercise on your why, because it's more important, your why, to create meaning why you want to pack a cooler. And then also, I think it's important to wrap up with, now you've gotten through getting through the drive-thru, skipping the drive-thru, and then you get home to a healthier meal, but you're not even sure what that healthy meal is going to be. So I'm going to help you overcome that obstacle as well. So for now, let's just kind of get started with some of those stories and statistics. So I started packing a cooler when I started in sales. And I don't know where you are, but I'm in Texas, and it gets really hot in Texas. And so I started packing one of those little Playmate coolers. They were hard plastic coolers. I'd throw some waters in a cooler, and then I could go about my sales calls all day in my car. So that's how it started. And that's a great habit to create when you're on your own, and then you bring children into the world. And now I am offering and packing a cooler every day for my children. So healthy snacks and waters, always have water. And that's one thing I may say several times throughout this is never leave home without water, even if you think you're leaving just for a little bit, because sometimes that little bit becomes longer. And it's just always nice to stay hydrated and just prevent that fatigue from coming on. So always have water. Okay. So another reason I did the 1 Minute Cooler is, well, there's two reasons. One is because I'm a time freak. I'm usually fitting in one more thing. And so what I want to share when I call it the 1 Minute Cooler is that it is achievable and that you can do it fast. And I literally can pack a cooler in a minute because I've done it so many times. But I wanted to make it feel and seem achievable for people. So that's why I call it the 1 Minute Cooler, to skip the drive-thru. And it just helps you get home to a healthier meal. So what it looks like for me is I don't plan. I don't spend my evenings thinking what I'm going to put in my cooler the very next day. My personality is more like, and this is every day my whole life, ask my husband, oh my gosh, like I have 10 minutes I have to leave for work. So it's more that kind of pace, because I've packed in more than I should have that morning. And then I race around my kitchen like a tornado, throwing a few things in my cooler, and then I'm out the door. So it is achievable. Okay, it also can save you time and money besides your health, and it teaches your children really good habits. So if your children are always eating what you're offering them, if there's an apple and a cheese stick in your cooler, for example, and they're hungry and you say, do you want an apple and a cheese stick or one or the other? Those are their choices. So now you're just teaching them how we eat without too many words, just by the action of having put that in your cooler. So I want to share a few stories with you to give you a little perspective of where I'm coming from. So I'm probably a little bit older than a lot of you, but based on my upbringing. So really the drive-thru back then was a rare occurrence, and eating out as a family was also rare. I mean, it was a special treat, and it's not that we never had any of that. That's not the case. We had plenty of treats. But just eating out was not the norm. So, and I want to share with you some statistics, because I think it just gives perspective of how we've changed. Our spending on food away from home back in the 70s was about 25% of our food budget. And then in 2012, that number peaked to about 41% of our food budget. And it peaked in 2012 because about that time, the grocery stores started realizing that we wanted more convenience foods. So if you're in Texas, we have H-E-B, and they chop up a lot of things to help you prep at home a little faster. Shish kebabs are ready to put on the grill. So those convenience foods came in, taking away where it did peak at about 43% actually. And that what I think is really interesting, and part of why we want to pack a cooler to skip the drive-through, is that fast food industry, what statistics call the quick service industry. And so there, just this year, or 2020 and 2020, the quick service industry generated $293 billion. And just in the last 10 years, that grew by $90 billion in revenue in the United States. And you can imagine that McDonald's is the #1 seller or revenue generator in that space. And just for fun, to share that Starbucks is second, but not even close behind McDonald's. Okay, so I'm hoping that packing a cooler will slow some of that fast food consumption down. And when I'm on my way home from work, I can look over at the drive-through and there's like a line almost coming out onto the main highway for some of these places. So we're frequenting these venues. So hopefully we slow it down. But my most favorite story to share is just my upbringing. I used to be able to stay every summer with my aunt. My Aunt Shaw is a shopper, and my grandmother would go with her. And so if I'm just a kid hanging out with my aunt and we're going shopping, I'm just tagging along. But you have to understand what shopping means. I mean, it's all day. It is going to the best department stores who are having sales because they want to look nice, but they're not paying the prices. So shopping means all day looking for the best deal. And so what did my aunt and grandmother do? They packed a cooler. Yeah. And I love that. I'm like, thank you. I'm so grateful for just having that model of behavior. Packed a cooler. And this is in the late 70s. So I'll tell you, the food courts were starting. They weren't everywhere yet in the malls, but they were there. We didn't eat in the food court. We went back to the car in the parking garage or parking lot. And in that cooler was water and carrots and fruit, like everything we need to stay fueled, to shop more. So that's just perspective, and that's my upbringing. I am grateful, and this is kind of what I do. It doesn't have to be that formal, and that's what you're going to see in my video. So now I want to share with you really when you want to pack a cooler, and then we'll get to the video. So when you want to pack a cooler is I pack one almost any time I leave the house for any length of time. So when I'm going to work, I pack a cooler. And sometimes it really is just grabbing a piece of fruit and throwing some water in it. It can be that simple. If you're picking up your kids after school, I always brought food and water in my car, just going to get my kids. And the reason why is I'm thinking, what if we end up having to go run an errand or something? So I'd always have that. And if we didn't use it, I'd just bring it back in the house. Not a big deal. Sporting events, what else? Just anytime with your kids, just always pack water, always have a snack on hand. You know how little kids are, they need it. And so for me, even, I'll let you know that sometimes your cooler can be your purse. If you're a woman, just throw a clementine or an apple in your purse. So just always have something healthy. So if you get hungry, you have it available. And I'm gonna go ahead and start my video. So the video is really gonna show you what supplies you need. And it's really me, and I'm showing you how I pack my cooler and how my thought process. And just keep in mind, I'm a very, very practical soul. So let me see if I can share my screen. Let me see. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that. And I'll just start it. We'll watch it. It's about 9 minutes. I'm going to share with you now 3 things to make it easy and achievable for you to pack a cooler each day, if not most days. And I'll always say, never leave home without water at the very least. But the first thing I'm going to share with you are the supplies that you'll need to have on hand to make it easy for you to grab and throw in your cooler. You just will want to have these things. It makes it easier. Second thing is to share with you some of the foods that you'll want to have on hand. Easy, convenient foods, healthy, convenient foods, to throw into your cooler fast to keep you from going through the drive-thru or from being starving when you're out running errands. And then the third thing is I'm actually going to show you how I do it. Okay, so let's start with the supplies. The supplies you'll want to have on hand to make it easy. The first thing is you need to have ice packs frozen and ready to go. I have some nice or blue or those, but y'all, sometimes I just take what's given to me, and when food comes in the mail, people have given us gifts. These things, they come in handy. So that's one thing. The second thing that you want to have is a couple of ways to do this. You can always have this packed and ready to go, water bottles ready. I had a friend at one time said with kids in sports, she had just a slew of water bottles already ready to go in the fridge. And then of course we have these. We have tons of these in our outside fridge. So I keep these cold. So that's also, I'll pack my own water bottles, but also have these. Always have water on hand. And maybe for little kids, it might be worth investing in those little ones, the shorter ones. You know, they may cost more per unit, but you get my point. They don't drink the whole thing, right? Little kids sometimes. So that's two things. Classy paper towels. You can buy fancy napkins. I have them sometimes, but these throwdowns, man, right here in the cooler. I never leave home without paper towels. There's some in my car, actually, especially when you have kids. They just come in handy. Can't explain it. It's like having scissors in every room. They come in handy. Okay, what else? Toothpicks sometimes are easy depending on the age of your kids, and the reason why is if you have cut up fruit, it's just easy to eat with a toothpick. And then along those same lines, I have this big vat of utensils. Now with kids, I would use the plastic utensils a lot. I'll let y'all decide. This is not an environmental message, but I will share with you plastic utensils are nice to have when you're on the go a lot with kids. So you have it in the car for yogurts and things like that. But even now today, I'll put my real utensils in a baggie and throw them in my cooler because I like having real utensils. So you can do that, but also throw these plastic ones in a baggie, which also kind of brings me to, you need to have baggies on hand. I have a lot of snack baggies. I have all different sizes. And that's because I don't always buy individually packaged things. I pack baggies so I can take what's in bigger bulk in our pantry or fridge and stick them in baggies and throw them in our cooler. So those are the supplies you need. Waters, ice packs, toothpicks, utensils, baggies. That's pretty much, you know, runs down that line. Okay, second thing I wanted to share with you today are some things that you need to have on hand. And really, literally, this is how I do it. I am racing out the door. I told you I'm a tornado. I literally run into the kitchen. And for me personally, and for my kids, I could grab a yogurt, throw it in my cooler, right? That's easy, which means I already have my spoons on hand, right? A lot of times for kids, you can have carrots packed in baggies. Put the whole thing of hummus in there. They can share if there's two kids in the car, right? Carrots, hummus, yogurt. Always in my fridge, I have bowls of a lot of them already. These are clementines. They're so easy to peel, even for kids.
Happy Friday. I know you. And so you guys are strong.
Now, if I had these in a Tupperware, I could just throw the whole Tupperware into the coupon. Doesn't matter, right? So you just have food in there. You're out sporting events or out running errands. There are healthier snacks within every category of snacks. And, you know, I don't want to be, I'll just be very honest that, yeah, I mean, I have kids too. There's plenty of junk food.
That's good. So, you know, I have these guys coming in Sunday, actually, they want to go like work for, like, you know, Monday.
Ingredients in them and maybe some other choices. So I buy these sometimes. Peanuts or any kind of nuts, again, you can put these in baggies. So nuts are great to have. There is no better snack for a kid and apples. Cheese stick and an apple, that will get you home, right? That's very satisfying for kids. You can stick this whole thing in your cooler or take out a couple apples and just stick them in your cooler. What else? When you already have fruit in your fridge, this is mango. This would be great with a toothpick or with a fork. And sometimes you just stick the whole jar of peanut butter in there. I'm just giving examples.
So you kind of want to shake it up, right? You don't always want to have the same snacks, but I do have my go-tos. And again, here's like a healthier snack for crackers. There's a lot of crackers out there that are less healthy. We ate a lot of goldfish when my kids were young, just because, again, it was the lesser evil in my view. They like these real crunchy ones too. A little less ingredients, for example. So that's kind of it. So the third thing I want to share with you, you kind of get the gist of it. Baggies, you can buy the individually packaged things. We used to buy the individually packaged nuts as well. The kids don't always want nuts. You want to give them variety. Okay, so for me personally right now, my kids are now 19. And I know today, for certainly, I haven't had breakfast and I do not have a lunch today. Sometimes I do. And so for today, this is literally, except for me racing around my kitchen, which I usually do, this is what it'll look like for me. So I know I'm packing this cooler. This is what it looks like for me. I have 3 of these in here. There's another one in there. I throw in my ice pack, right? Hot in Texas. Water bottle, I just put that in my car with me, ready to go. And so for me today, I already know what I'll probably do. I'm going for a banana. I like bananas. Why? It's not that I love bananas so much. It's that they're easy to eat in the car when I'm driving. So a banana will go. An apple will go. That's a great get me home from work snack. And for breakfast this morning, if I'm hungry, I'll have a yogurt, which means I'll need my spoons and a fork and a knife, because I'm going to pack a salad. I'm about to pack a salad. Throw this in a baggie. I have my paper towels, right, for napkins in case I'm eating in my car. What else do I want? I want my salad. All right, you're going to love this. This is how I pack my salad. I make my own salad dressing. I never eat salad dressing out of a bottle. This is just olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette and a little salt and pepper. I'll put it at the bottom of my Tupperware. You see this Tupperware? A little bit of that. How many of you buy these, I love calling things vats of spinach or vats of mixed greens? You can't go bad, they won't go to waste. And when they start to go to waste, just make sauteed spinach. Freeze it. Freeze it. It tastes great in smoothies. Okay, I'm just putting spinach in here. And I'm going to pack it down. Okay, that. And then I always have grilled chicken in my fridge. Ask my husband. He says, so much chicken, we have feathers. Eat a lot of chicken. And so, literally, I'll just cut it up really fast. I don't want to do that in my car. Cut it up for the day. If I pack this baggie of carrots with me, then I can throw that in my salad as well. But if you have time, cut up avocado or any other fresh fruits and vegetables that you like. But I'm basically telling you, for me, it's all about time and having healthy foods. And I'm done, y'all. That's it. That's how I pack a cooler. So here's for the no drive-through plan. And I hope that some of this makes it easier for you to achieve.
Okay, let me figure out how to.
I'm going to share with you now 3
Oh no!
to
How do I stop it?
Easy and achievable for you to pack a cooler each day.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So go back
I'll
to your
always say,
video.
never leave home without water.
What do I do?
Go back to the video that's playing.
Yes.
Background,
Okay.
To
and then
make
go ahead and hit
for
stop
you to
or
grab,
escape.
throw in your.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
And you were also at 10 minutes, just to let you know.
Thank you. Okay. So the one thing that I think that I should add is I did not wash my spinach, and the food rules, if you look at food safety rules, it's still recommended that you wash anything, even if it says triple washed. But what can I say? I live on the edge. So, but I do want to let you know that from a food safety perspective. And so that really is how I do it. And a lot of times there's so many ways to make a salad fast. Some people think making a salad is not fast, but I will tell you, we eat a lot of peanut butter sandwiches in this house as well, because that's also a quick go-to. Anyway, so that's how I do it. I also want to share these last 2 things in these last minutes that we have together is my why is really important to me. And I think ultimately we can all agree that our health is the most important thing, because just like our grandparents used to say, you would ask an older person, you know, how are you? And they would say, everything's great. I have my health. Can't ask for nothing more. You know, that kind of thing. Our health is so important. That is my why. And it's just a habit that I've created to make a habit to pack a cooler. But what I want to do with you is two things here. I want to kind of share with you an exercise of finding your why for packing a cooler, but really for anything you want in life. That's one thing I'll leave you with. And the second thing is, now that you've skipped the drive-through and you've gotten yourself and or you and your children home, and now you have to make food, which a lot of times is the obstacle, right? You just want to stop somewhere so it's done. Everybody's fed, you get home and you can do your other things. So let's just talk about what that can look like. So the first thing is your why. So the exercise is 3 to 5 times. This is how we do it. You ask yourself why you want to do something to have meaning and motivators for you. And if I did this for myself, so I would say, okay, why is packing a cooler important? Why is it important to you? So I'd ask myself, why is it important to me? And I would say, well, because it makes me healthier, because I can put healthy foods in there to have healthy choices. So to make me healthier. And then, well, why is being healthier important to me? So that's your second why. You fill that blank in. Why is it being healthy important to me? Well, because it makes me feel stronger and it makes me feel good. And then you'd ask, so why is feeling strong and feeling good important to me or important to you? You just keep asking yourself that 3 to 5 times till you get the real answer that's really your meaning and motivator. And ultimately, you know, a lot of times the answer is our health, or the answer is peacefulness. You're controlling what's in your control. And that's giving yourself healthy choices as well as your children healthy choices. And so now let's say you get home from skipping the drive-through, and what's for dinner, and you don't really have anything prepared. And, you know, for me, you saw that it would be rare if I didn't have some type of chicken already cooked in our fridge, and probably a starch, and maybe some sweet potatoes and some grilled vegetables. But what if there's not? So what if you just have eggs? Okay, well, then eggs are dinner, and that's a healthy dinner. Eggs and toast and some fruit for your children or for you, that works. There's this really great PhD health science, Stephanie Abrams, UT Health Science Center in Houston. And when I was at the Dell Center, I was in this, doing an internship. I was in a group with all the PhD students studying health, and their coursework was to have these discussions. And Stephanie Abrams focuses on childhood obesity. And she just nailed it. And I've used it ever since. She said she tells her families all the time, you're doing your health, your child, your whole family a favor by skipping the drive-through essentially, and going home and just making a sandwich and opening up a bag of frozen vegetables and thawing those out. And that's dinner. So just think, you know, some people may say, well, a sandwich isn't that healthy, but think about the alternative. And that's easy. That takes hardly any time to prep. The cleanup is easy. Frozen vegetables, I could argue, maybe even more nutrient dense than some of the fresh produce, because we don't know how long it's been in transit or waiting in the warehouse. We don't know. And a lot of times the frozen vegetables were picked and frozen rapidly. So, you know, there's some discussion around that as well. But my point is that's easy. So what are some other ideas? Avocado toast is a big deal these days. You can make egg and avocado toast. If you have any of those mixed greens, don't be shy of making a salad a big meal. You can throw in some mixed greens. If you have pasta already cooked, and so again, thaw out some vegetables, throw all those in there. If you have some proteins, you can cut that up. Now that is less than 5-minute meal. So a lot of this is to say, just have some food cooked that you can mix together when you get home, that kind of thing. And that's how I cook. I don't really cook. I mean, I do cook, but I always just have foods around in the fridge that I can throw together. What else? Just any kind of pasta. Have you ever opened up a can of black beans, a can of corn, put some red wine vinaigrette on it or vinegar, little cumin, salt and pepper, and now you have already, that's a dip, or you can put that into some rice. And that essentially, that's a meal. So there are some ideas. We have 4 minutes left. I just think I could keep sharing these ideas and recipes, but I think that keeping it simple is probably the best thing to do. Meals don't have to be extravagant. Really figure out your why. And for me, again, it was my health, and it's also my children's health. And I think along those lines, to leave it with this, your children will choose the choices, they'll choose from the choices that you give them. So at dinner, for example, if you say, what would you like to drink with dinner, water or milk? Those are their choices. The same thing as if in your cooler, if you packed apples and carrots and hummus and yogurts and nuts, for example, variety on any day, but those are their choices, that's what they'll choose from. Or they'll just wait till they get home, right? And that's okay too. So I hope this presentation and just sharing with you today helps you skip the drive-through, think more about your health, and practice packing that cooler, y'all. It's really easy. You can do it really fast, but never leave home without water. Thanks for letting me share with you today. It's truly my passion. Thank you.